the ground. Mom, she do the laundry, daddy, he dig ditch. Me, I play the music, life sure was a bitch. We wanna drive around and ride magazines, get high on ganja till we can't even see. When you go to the record store, we're gonna wait outside. Hit you in the head with the baseball bat and make you cry. That's about all I can go on this primitive cover of the classic Eddie Murphy skit from 1977. And happy May Day, by the way. I can't post this video until later because I got censored. This song got taken down. Yeah, I know it's not really censorship unless it's the government doing it, but, you know, they called it 8 each incitement to, you know, I was covering Saturday Night Live skit. I always thought this was really funny, this song, ever since I was a little kid, before I even listened to reggae music, and it wasn't until much later that I started being a real reggae fan. But when I got it that they were always singing about Babylon, I got the point that Eddie Murphy was actually trying to make. He was making fun of, I guess reggae was super huge in the 70s and people were getting famous and making a ton of money. And he said, like, you know, the point was like they're trying to pretend like they're revolutionary freedom fighters, but they just want to be commercial artists and make money, which is fine. I mean, hey, more power to him. But Eddie Murphy was making fun of that. It was funny. And that skit is still up on YouTube. The original, a clip, you know, and it wasn't even the official Saturday Night Live version. I can't say the name of it because that's incitement. And I get it. I mean, in Germany it is illegal, and in America it's borderline, right? I mean, to tell a joke like that, but I figured there are two versions of the Saturday Night Live version up, so it must be okay. The real version still up, and it wasn't even posted on the official SNL site. Some nobodies uploaded it, and I was like, you must be able to do it. Anyway, the drummer in Shice Squad, the Nifty Wankers for He Is Legion, he thought it was really funny too, and we had to do it. I mean, we had this idea to do it like 12 years ago or something, and the real version is the only song where we had bass. We had my friend from Sicily play bass. He's a real good bass player, and you know, it was simplistic, you know, just these two chords. And it doesn't sound like the real version. I just made my, you know, dumb primitive version anyway. It got taken down for the second time. I got a channel strike. I think it's going to hurt the metrics of this baby little fledgling channel where I'm just mostly posting stuff because I'm bored. So for the 5 people who care about it, the algorithmic Wordbots even look at little guys like me and don't, you know, obviously they don't get jokes or context that Eddie Murphy during. I filed a complaint, but I didn't have like a text box to write, this is an Eddie Murphy joke. It should be clear. Anyway, the complaint got rejected, and hey, so it's also May Day, you know, International Workers' Day. It's a big day in Germany, and that's why, hey, I love the DDR, man, because later on today, it's going to be funny. I'm sure there's going to be people starting fires, especially in Berlin. But here in Hamburg, there are 2 communist protests that I would like to see, but I don't want to see enough to, I don't know, maybe if I'm bored, we'll see. So, yeah, communism still means a lot here. Communism now comes from the west to the east and no longer from the east to the west. That's one of the interesting ramifications of the new world that we live in, because I actually studied a lot of communist history, Cold War history, Weimar Republic history, and I was really interested in finding out, was it really that bad? I spent a long time in various former Eastern Bloc countries, including, you know, the Czech Republic, where they got invaded by the Soviet Union, and former Yugoslavia, Serbia, and stuff, which actually, that's a long story. And then, you know, of course, I spent a long time in Berlin, which is kind of was the centerpiece of the Cold War. And what I learned about the question, was it really that bad, is like, for a lot of people, it wasn't that bad. The redeeming factor was that most people flew under the radar, escaped persecution, and just had to make sure not to say anything controversial ever in their whole damn lives. Oh, and you know, trying to get a hold of rock and roll. Oh, it was really funny to find out everything that got banned by the DDR censors and Soviet Union censors, because like they banned the Talking Heads for supporting the myth of Soviet military danger, and I don't know what song they're talking about. And I'm a huge Talking Heads fan. I know every single song, all the lyrics. The song Life During Wartime is not about the Soviet Union or anything like that. It's about domestic terrorism from some interesting groups in the U.S. a long time ago. The Symbolize Revolution Army. I don't know. It was weird. Totally not about... I don't think David Byrne ever mentioned anything about the Soviet Union or the Russians or anything like that. He was not a Cold Warrior. Anyway, I heard... my boss, Tommy Stumpf, told me, this is hilarious to me, Depeche Mode was like one of the only Western groups that was totally approved by the DDR communist government. And that started a big scene for like gothic electro, dark electro music in East Germany, because they were like totally clear. They played there a bunch of times. I don't know what songs they're talking about that were like considered approvable by the communist authorities. They have one song, Everything Counts in Large Amounts, which is like anti-commercial business, and I guess that could be construed as anti-communism, but you know, if you know any of the Depeche Modes, I'm only a little bit of a fan. I don't know all of their songs. Maybe they have other songs from back in the 80s that were anti-capitalistic. I don't know, but they were approved in communist countries. Hilarious. And that now a lot of older guys I know in Germany they were into dark electro, Depeche Mode inspired music back in the 80s. So and then the reggae thing, I don't know, I thought that I heard that Eddie Murphy skit when I was a little kid, and I didn't quite get reggae yet, and the only one I knew was Bob Marley, who I'm frankly not a great fan of. I mean, he's okay, but I don't get it. And then more recently, I heard this, there's this compilation on YouTube called An Hour of Reggae Roots, which is actually way over an hour long, and it has like real serious guys from the 70s. It has like Barrington Levy and Gregory Isaacs and this group called like Culture. It has a lot of Rasta songs and a lot of songs singing about Babylon, the significance of which I only learned about later, but it ties in with that song Eddie Murphy made, the joke song, and I think it's really funny. I don't even attempt to play reggae, but I started appreciating the melodic bass and some of the interesting things. I used to assume that reggae was going to be horrible like ska, but it's not. And even ska, like the really, really old ska is awesome, but I don't, ska punk is one of the only kinds of music that I almost universally hate and can't really even think of a song that I consider okay. I guess that Rancid song, Ruby Soho, that's not really ska, though. Whatever. Anyway, please write your feelings about the Eddie Murphy sketch from Saturday Night Live and reggae and in general, and 1st of May Day. If you're from the DDR, write about the question how bad it was, because, I mean, yeah, the only redeeming factor I identified, mostly from talking to people in real life and not just from book learning, was that a lot of people just said it was boring as long as you had no ambitions and never talked about anything controversial. People weren't just automatically getting persecuted, although you could get like denounced by your neighbors, and a lot of it had to do with the school system, because like a lot of people were really frustrated because they were studying hard sciences, and like they did have a lot of technology in communist countries, and like people were studying to be engineers and scientists, and then they were getting sent off to like machine operator, menial, unskilled work jobs, because they just would send you to do whatever work they wanted, regardless of what you studied. And I actually know a guy who escaped from the DDR because of that. He was a computer scientist in the 80s, and at some point he jumped over the wall of the West German embassy in Prague, and like apparently if you do that they have to help you. And he got out, and so that he could study computer technology on real equipment, which was kind of an issue in the DDR back in the 80s, having real computers in general. But I don't know if that anecdote is even interesting to the 5 people who watch this channel and the 3 people who even care, but it's a special day, the 1st of May, and it's especially... The reason I even care now is that being in the punk rock scene in Hamburg, a lot of people I know, West Germans who are too young to even remember the Soviet Union, a lot of them are like Soviet Union supporters, not just like socialists into equality and stuff, but actual Soviet Union supporters. It's a big thing in the music scene here, and they're supporting a hardline authoritarian dictatorship, but I think they just want to be rebels. You know, it's a music thing to want to post like symbols like hammers and sickles and red stars and stuff. Like, I get it to just post like a striking imagery like that on your shirts and stuff, and technically it's legal in Germany. I mean, swastika is totally illegal and you'll get in mad trouble and be on some kind of list for doing that. But if you support other dictatorships, it's okay. Maoist, Soviet Union, whatever. And it's just interesting that people even do that. People who consider themselves enlightened, freedom-fighting rebels, singing poetry about how unfair life and capitalism is, whatever. And then the whole question, is capitalism really even an ideology, or is that just when you let business go, develops into what we have now? But I don't think that's ideological. I think just like moneyed interests just grow into the point. And yeah, there's a lot to criticize there, of course, but I don't think it's an ideology, and like communism definitely is. Although the question of what is real communism, and I know like Marx envisioned anarcho communists where there's no hierarchy and all that stuff, but I don't know, I think it's interesting. Now I'm rambling. Started out with Eddie Murphy censorship in YouTube. Yes, I know it's not really censorship if it's not the government doing it. Yes, I know it's very borderline to support, to make a joke about, well, incitement to violins. I can't believe that a nobody channel, that the Wordbots actually went after me. One thing that really pisses me off is we posted this song originally in 2014 off the second album, How Vague den Shice, and YouTube ignored it until about a few years ago. I think it has to do with they stepped up their Wordbot censorship metrics after the 2016 election and started going after extremists and stuff. But anyway, the point is, I got the first and best hate speech comments, or hate mail comment, which I can't repeat, but it was so funny. I have a screenshot saved of it somewhere. And then later, I started a BitChute channel just because of that song. I thought it'd be funny, and then I got a lot of hate mail from that, from the people on BitChute are never mind, you know what I'm saying. But it was funny to be on BitChute, and then it got banned there because it's illegal. It's incitement to violence of certain group. I guess my group in this case. So it was a self-deprecating whatever, but it's illegal. It's blocked in Germany because it's actually against the Constitution to do any kind of incitement. And the laws on what constitute free speech are different. That's all well and good. I don't want all this. I mean, I get why it's illegal, especially in Germany. So I don't know. Is this interesting to you? And I guess the point I'm leading up to is all you guys, like my friends in the small alternative YouTube community, like, okay, Max Weathersfield and Luke Base Zero and SR Montenegrin, actually, you have lyrics. Okay, I don't know, it's just like they can analyze your lyrics. The Wordbots It's not just based on titles you write. They can analyze your lyrics and get you for something out of context. And yeah, also on Facebook, I got an out of context warning for talking about Django Reinhardt, and the official name in Wikipedia of the music theory that goes in along with his style of jazz, which I will not, the name of which will go on but I got really a strike on that, and like, I was talking about legitimate music stuff without any context to ethnic issue, whatever. God, it's just funny. Maybe it's not funny. Maybe it's boring. So 15 minutes, I don't know. Not sure how interesting, but it's fun to jam on these little 2-chord things. Yes, I know I can't really play real reggae, but hey, Babylon System is the vampire draining this. Oh, and my favorite Babylon lyric: "Hey, Mr. Babylon, you don't like the ganja man, but we bring the tourists upon the island." I think that's Barrington Levy. Or that song, Babylon too rough, easier, not too easier, Babylon too rough. And then my other band, Samba got the main guy, Alex, who does the Send Me to Hell shirts, read a book about Sumeria called The Holy Mushroom and the Cross by The Sacred Mushroom and the Cross by John Allegro, and it was talking about ancient Sumerian language etymology and how the name Jesus is derived from the Sumerian word for the Amanita muscaria toadstool, which apparently grew in that region thousands of years ago. Not the psilocybin mushrooms, but the the Amanita muscaria that the berserkers supposedly took, and that stuff's actually pretty mild. Doesn't give you that much of it doesn't really trip you out, but it's interesting. And they say that the word for Jesus came from this mushroom, and I guess back then people just didn't have the tolerance to doing interesting substances, and it really tripped them out. But it's just nothing like psilocybin. It's pretty subtle in comparison. Whatever. If you made it to the end of this rant, I don't know. Happy May Day. This will come out next week after my content strike. I'm blocked from posting until the 7th or the 8th or something. But whatever. Watch out for anything the Wordbots could take out of context. And, oh yeah, our other big hit, Rundum Sorglos Paket, all-around carefree package, got censored for 2 clips that were construed of violence, but they were like really short clips, glorifying violins, whatever. But that's the song I always take out.